Video 362 was in response to Equity bringing their High Court action against Spotlight and the judge handing down their decision.
Nigel.cecil, calling things out, as you like it, especially for his fair-minded friends.
Hello Chakabatis, welcome. Thank you for joining me, Nigel Cecil, for what is video 364, referencing that number in this particular case because we want to more easily reference back to video 362, which provides the background information for this video, because of course you always get in touch via our email address to bring to our attention, Hillary and your comments, views, observations and questions. And in this video, we're going to be referring to Act on This TV, Ross Grant and PTECH, Ben Seale, who for 25 years was the managing partner and CEO of Spotlight, and the concept of brand credibility. Video 362 was in response to Equity bringing their High Court action against Spotlight and the judge handing down their decision, which comprehensively rejected Equity's claim. Equity then had a council meeting to decide what they were going to do, and then published to all their members that they were going to seek leave to appeal the decision. You then got in touch with further information saying, Nigel, will you put forward our views on our behalf, because quite a number of you are conscious of cancel culture, and you didn't want to be seen to be putting an alternative, credible view to what Equity were doing. Act on This TV. We weren't aware of Act on This TV, really, were we, Hillary? We've no connection with them whatsoever. We've never spoke to Ross Grant or to PTECH. Some of you watch it. And amongst other things, apart from their courses and their YouTube channel, they do live streaming. And following the High Court decision, they published a live stream. They interacted with everyone. And there's some very interesting information. And it's fair to say that the comments they received live didn't generally support what Equity were doing. Act on This TV. We'll put the link in the video notes, but that driving force of Equity, attacks on hope, really does clutch at one's professional heartstrings, because to get on in showbiz, a lot of it is about hope, isn't it? And this is where casting directories come into their own. Equity, in order to succeed in their High Court action, have to prove that Spotlight is an employment agency. If you look at all the terms and conditions, that doesn't seem very credible. There again, we're not an expert, but Ben Seale in LinkedIn, a former managing partner of Spotlight for some 25 years and CEO, actually said, didn't they, Hillary? They're not surprised about the decision going against Equity. They're saying they just can't imagine how Spotlight can possibly be classed as an employment agency. But in doing so, they've actually come up with a jolly good idea that might be worth considering. Maybe Equity could get behind that idea. May we put that on the screen, Hillary? There you go. Ben Seale, for 25 years, a managing partner in Spotlight. I hope you find that interesting and hope it will stimulate your comments, views, observations and questions. And don't forget, have a look at Act on This TV. We'll put that in the video notes, shall we, Hillary? But now the final thing you brought to our attention, which we hadn't considered, did the High Court consider? Because if Equity wants an organisation like Spotlight to show what their production costs are worth, do you take into account, did the High Court take into account, even consider brand credibility? There are other networks like Mandy Network, Backstage, Casting Network, Star Now, How would they quantify? How would it be quantified what it actually costs them? Because presumably, if you're all online, it's the same cost. So you all should be charging the same. But what about brand credibility? Surely that stands for something. Spotlight started before equity. Spotlight started in 1919. So what have they built up over the years? Credibility. Credibility that other networks can't claim to have. A reliability on what they are doing that therefore attracts casting directors to look at Spotlight. When you think about it, let's just apply it to the real world, because many actors, self-employed, small traders, sole traders, seek to promote themselves. Lots of us do. So for equity to say this is all about the gig economy and expand it for workers everywhere, that's not really what the acting profession is all about. So, when you think of Spotlight beginning in 1919, Tesco began all those years ago. A couple of stores in the London's East End, and look at them now. 3,500 stores, outlets. Have they got brand credibility? What happens if a self-employed sole trader, we pop along there and say, I've got a magic act. Well, I'm an actor as well. I do all sorts of things. Can I have a little community note on your board? And they say, yes, it's 10p a year. 10p a year? Oh, we'll have some of that. But then let's put it across all their 3,500 outlets, shall we? Their stores, their shops. 10p a year, £350. What about that as a charge? Is that fair? Is it costing them the same? But of course, they built up that network, that credibility over all those years. And equally, Spotlight have built up their network, their credibility over all those years. So can other networks claim the same thing? So how do you evaluate what the production costs are, especially when online the production costs all look similar? We'll leave this information with you, and as always, please get in touch, whether your comments, views, observations and questions, and we'll endeavour to present them equally and fairly on your behalf. And of course, we have to say a claim to those members of equity who put their head above the parapet to bring the High Court action, because whether you support it or not, showbiz is somewhat of a dangerous place. That cancel culture, become known as an active trade unionist, and it's not really certain it's going to be in the best interests of your professional career. Equally, nothing's really that certain in showbiz, is it? So anyway, as always, this is our email address. Do get in touch. And as we always end up by saying, when it comes to showbiz, as equity would echo, to all artists, good work. To all workers, good art. And to everyone, equity. And of course, in showbiz, when it comes to professional solidarity, we better all keep our fingers crossed, eh? Good fortune, everyone. Until the next time. Please hit the subscribe button and join us again, because together every viewer helps. Thank you.
Nigel Cecil, calling things out.